am live. I was tickled pink when I heard Schrodinger's cat died recently, and I'm not gonna miss him by any means, but I'm gonna watch his video right now, live with you guys, and give you guys a straight up review reaction, and this is gonna be good. Definitely gonna be good. I'm gonna stop the video at certain points. It appears to be just over 14 minutes, and this is his video on me. A sovereign citizen gets arrested for impersonating law enforcement. Now, I don't know much about this character, but he's calling me names. I have never once referred to myself on this channel or anywhere in life as a sovereign citizen. These people are on a terrorist watch list with their claimed organization, and several recordings of individuals who claim to be sovereign citizens have pulled out guns on law enforcement in certain attempts to defend civil rights and liberties, and other attempts to conduct nefarious activity. So anyway, he's calling me names, first of all, and that's an F. That's an F right off the bat. Okay, so y'all ready? Here we go.
Hi folks, I have a very interesting one today. I've made a couple recent videos where Karens try to make citizens arrests.
Call me a Karen.
Well, this sovereign citizen goes one step further and tries to make an actual arrest.
Not a sovereign citizen, but go ahead.
As you might suspect, the police take exception to that and arrest him for impersonating law enforcement. Take a look.
Commercial time. Can't get through the intro and into the video without a commercial on YouTube. Here we go.
Okay, what you need help with?
Well, days ago, my RV was stolen from a lot off of Vaughn Street, across from Carter Field, next to the White Pump House.
Okay.
Is there a superior here, actually?
Well, we're all on level playing field, so
I'd like to speak with the superior directly.
Okay. All right, well, you're speaking to me right now, so what do you need help with?
I would like to speak with the superior directly, sir. I want to make sure my constitutional rights are respected through this whole process and ordeal.
Okay, so as I've stated, I would like to request a supervisor in the video. I am concerned about my rights. I don't know what rights I care about more than my constitutional rights. Now, at this point, two officers, deputies at Halifax County Sheriff's Office, just arrived on scene. And let me give you a little backstory here. I just conducted the most nonchalant citizen's arrest while giving an individual notice that he's committed crimes in regards to stealing my property, and a request for him to retract from that, restore me to my property, clean and clear, free of repercussions. At no point, when I presented myself into the office, did I say anything other than, "Is Donnie here? Sure, I'll wait. Hey, Donnie, my name's Mike. I have this for you." And I handed him the notice. I said, somebody thought it'd be a good idea I speak with you. And he looked it over for 2 seconds. He said, "All right, I tell you what, the property line's right there. Get off my property." I said, "Okay, stay right there. You're under arrest." And I walked out the door. And I got off on the adjacent lot next to his, on what I suspected to be somebody else's property. Now, I had just performed a state and federal protected activity, a protected right. And I am now being interviewed, so to say, by members of law enforcement who are now arriving. The night before, I had crunched so much information, it completely fumbled in my little brain the next morning as I attempted to report to the Halifax County Sheriff's Office the felony crime. It is in the Halifax County jurisdiction, knowing that the tow operator moved it from the town to the county, so it would now fall under their jurisdiction, even the jurisdiction of the state police, being a business alongside a highway. With that being said, I'm going to hit play on the video right now.
Okay, well, I'm here to protect your constitutional rights. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So who is the supervisor, though, just so I can direct my attention to the proper channel of authority for my
supervisor here.
No supervisor. Okay. So, my RV, primary residence, my primary dwelling, my sole domicile. It was taken a few days ago. I immediately picked up the phone and called and filed a report for grand theft with South Boston Police Department, which Officer Perkins responded. He refused to provide any incident report or any investigation. Any information regarding my RV and a call to be removed from private property.
Deputy Moore, Deputy Waddell.
I'm sorry, I'm a lawyer. I've been studying this whole weekend.
In this comment, I've been criticized for saying it in the video. I said, I'm a lawyer. I've been studying all weekend. Yeah, no, I have been crunching a series of statutes, a series of precedents with court cases. I have Google scholared my ass into studies to understand what rights I have and what trespassing is and things of that nature. I wasn't lying when I said I'm a lawyer. I'm not an accredited bar member. I'm not a member of that organized criminal fucking ring. No, I would rather have the studies and to be able to help myself and share the knowledge from my firsthand experiences with others so that they can in turn potentially help themselves. At no point in time did I claim to be an individual who represents others for counsel in a court of law and take any money for it whatsoever. I believe knowledge should be free. And regarding that, I take what I learn from every malicious prosecution and I apply it to the next. So I'm surrounded by 4 deputies right now in the video. And I am pulling out papers because I'm nervous. I'm very nervous because here I am attempting in the video to report violations of the Rico statute where people have taken my property not in accordance with law, which means it's been illegal, taken my property, and I have reported on it, and these people have skirted criminal prosecution because they have contracts tied to the community and they are persons of upstanding nature. And because of that, law enforcement ensures the obstruction of justice at every turn when I have reported on this crime to these individuals. They have a personal conflict of interest with the towing operator. You know, there's a contract tied to the county, so when it comes up on the list next in rotation, we got to call this tow operator. They know them, you know. With that being said, somebody recently came to me and said, hey, Mike, you know, somebody specifically told them over the radio that they didn't want to have Franklin's Garage tow their vehicle. And guess who the cops sent? The cops sent damn Franklin's Garage. Now, as I was stating earlier, in this video, I have to review it a little more. But a call came over the two-way radio that the cop was wearing, and they had claimed that I was threatening and harassing employees. He's filing a false report. These are false statements. At no point in time was I threatening and harassing anybody inside. So they solicited law enforcement from Franklin's Garage. Donald Ellington did. I suspect he may have used a personal line and called his wife, which works with the agency. And I suspect that it was told to her to go ahead and send the cavalry. And that solicitation right there for retaliation with false reports is a felony against me, retaliating against me under Title 18 United States Code 1513. These officers committed the crime of 1503, obstruction of justice, and I'm going to go into detail about their crimes here in a moment.
Wait, what?
I'm study.
He wants the cops to believe that he's a lawyer. Look at this guy. I could maybe believe that he's the illegitimate child of Jerry Garcia, but a lawyer, not a chance.
Uncle.
Give me a moment
Jerry's
to
my
go
uncle.
through this. I just delivered a certificate of service to the tow yard to put them on notice of a violation of a federal crime.
I'm now telling the officers that I just delivered a certificate of service to the tow yard, putting them on notice that they've committed a crime, series of crimes, federal crimes, Rico violations. Now, I just told the officer, here I am being investigated. I didn't know this, but I figured it because that's the nature of them. They always do that when they're around. Here I am telling them that I delivered a certificate of service. I do not tell them that I claim to be a member of law enforcement. I do not tell them that that was a warrant and I'm a deputy issuing a warrant for an arrest. No. And that is what one of the Halifax County Sheriff's deputies stated and claimed.
I'm acting as a private attorney general right now, investigating this matter.
Hold on. I thought we already had a private attorney general. That's right. I forgot. He's in prison for running a mortgage scam and practicing law without a license.
He's referring me to somebody who was much more incompetent of the law, thought they were above the law, and was engaged in pretty much mail fraud, marketing, fraudulent mortgage reduction scheme. Looks like racketeering. Essentially. So he's called me a sovereign citizen. Fucking failure. He's comparing me when I allege to be a private attorney general. And see, the Rico Act explicitly gives us authority to investigate crimes like I'm doing. It gives me the authority. Now, the state's revoked pretty much rights to private prosecutions. And this, like I've been telling you, we've been recording obstruction where people won't let us approach grand juries. Now, it's going in to show how broken the system is. Being compared to other people who've attempted to do various things in different manners, it just... He's talking out his ass.
And also filing the report.
Here I am, filing a report.
I didn't get as far as requesting him to retract from the crime that he was an accessory of because he asked me to vacate the property.
Okay.
So I removed myself immediately, telling him not to go anywhere because he would be under arrest. Now, because he moved my sole primary dwelling and residence into the county jurisdiction, this would also be the scene of a crime. This is your jurisdiction as well in regards to.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there.
I'm informing the cops that he moved it into their jurisdiction. I'm beginning to file a report of theft. And Deputy Weddle is about to stop me right now and cops blame.
Yes, sir.
No crime has been committed.
Yes, sir, it has.
Look, you can let me finish talking first, and then you can talk, all right?
Yes,
That's
sir.
how this
This
is gonna work.
prison of a felony.
Okay, look, you're gonna stop talking and listen to me, okay? No crime's been taken. You parked your vehicle on a lot owned by somebody else. You can't park it there. That means he has a legal.
All right. He's telling me I parked it on a lot owned by somebody else and I can't park it there. The two defendants allege that I was removed from private property. Yes and no. It's a weird gray fucking area. The property is owned by the Halifax County Service Authority, which is pretty much a panel that consists of board members that run utilities. Now, it is not a private business. It is a registered government business. Now, the lot that I was parked on, which you guys seen a picture of it, I'm sure, the lot that I was parked on was unmarked, undeveloped, unposted, and it was used by the general public for off-street parking for ever since I grew up in the neighborhood as a kid. I was removed and singled out the day of removal, and they left another individual's private property trailers behind to be reclaimed an additional 24 hours later. When I pulled up, those trailers were there. When my shit was stolen, those trailers were still there. And I questioned the nature of the owner, was it a private owner or did the service authority own those trailers? Come to find out, yes, a private person, a private citizen who actually uses the lot too, like most of the general public around here. He got notification, and they gave him 24 hours from the moment they notified him to remove his stuff. He did the next day. Now, because it is registered government property, we are familiar with it being public property. Even though it's privately owned by the local government, which is owned by the people. So in this instance, I uncovered through my investigations in the statutes that it was an extension of a business's lot. While no immediate business exchange of money, services was conducted at that property, it was open and vacant, and the business was like 2.5 miles down the road. So there was nothing stopping me or notifying me that I had no right to be on that property whatsoever. So assumed public, assumed open, based off the history and the lack of maintenance and any enforcement to keep people off of it. I was towed, and then the very next day, surveyors came out, started marking stuff off. They started drilling poles and erecting a barricade. Now, at this point, they have constructed a fence which now shows where you can pull off the road and park on a public easement. So before, there was no definitive easement there, no line of property boundary, no nothing. Assumed it was all just interconnected. So when he tells me nothing illegal happened, it's because he would like to believe that nothing illegal happened. I didn't have tags on my RV, and it cannot be deemed abandoned per those statutes solely because, one, the DMV was closed down, so it suspended a series of operations when COVID kind of cracked open, and it was after the DMV suspended operations that I'm left in limbo with my property. So I had to wait. At the same time, there was a stay-at-home order and an eviction moratorium in place. And I, at the time, put a note in my window: private vehicle, private residence, no trespassing, under quarantine for COVID. Not that I had caught COVID, but more so that I was trying to protect myself, and I was isolating myself during a very serious time in a pandemic. So my home got taken from me with an eviction moratorium in place, with a stay-at-home order in place, and no ability to properly register it because of the DMVs being down. Now that I covered the tag issue, let's go fast forward to the time issue. I was there just about exactly 24 hours. Just 24 hours almost on the mark. So, looking up the statutes for abandoned vehicles, they require 48 hours at a minimum in one statute, 72 hours in another, and then in certain instances on private property abandoned, you can have 10 days to reclaim your property per another statute. So there's 3 statutes that cover abandoned vehicles, pretty much all fucking the same, and each statute, one gives you 48 hours, one gives you 72, the other gives you 10 days. Now, those were non-applicable to me because of the time constraints. Now, the other thing is, it had been alleged that I was trespassing. The rule for trespassing, and the cops know this, and I begged them to arrest me, is the definition is trespassing after having been forbidden to do so. Meaning, you have to previously be notified in order to commit a trespass violation. Because that means you've been previously notified, and if you ignore it or refuse it and you continue, you're trespassing. That is definition, okay? I'm not a lawyer. Don't take legal advice from me. Whatever. So anyway, we covered the abandonment. We covered the trespassing and how I wasn't abandoned, how I wasn't trespassing. If I'm not abandoning and not trespassing, what is it? Okay, what law did I break? Here you go. No, there was no law that I broke. This idiot named Blue Bacon wants to throw out a law, which is a local ordinance that I didn't uncover because it was virtually non-applicable and it was below my fucking pay grade, Blue Bacon. Blue Bacon believes that local legislation is the law of the land, okay? He is under the impression that no legislation is going to be bad. So he told me a certain statute that pretty much prohibits the parking of recreational vehicles or campers alike flat out on public property between the certain hours of like overnight. We know people live out of their RVs full time and use other addresses that aren't the RV's address because the RV is not a home. So people commit address fraud on paper and claim that they live at an address when they live out of an RV. And this I tried to avoid, and I reported this stuff to the DMV. They don't care. But the whole thing is, if you have a right and everything's registered and you roll up off the highway into the town of South Boston, Blue Bacon's going to try to call the cops on you for parking your RV on public property on the side of the street overnight. Watch out, guys. This guy's retarded. So I argued with him, and what that statute does is it restricts the rights I have over my property during certain times. Wait, what? Yeah, between the hours of, let's call it 9 to 5, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Fuck, I don't even care. It was so below my pay grade. So, to restrict the usage of my federally protected property, that abrogates my right over my property. Now, that legislation was produced by people who've committed treason because they don't want people just rolling up in the town of South Boston. We are a little tourist community, so you can imagine what happens when places get bigger and people want to come visit. Well, you get these things popping up, and they want to criminalize people like us for just popping up and just parking. So, with that being said, that law right there prohibits me from exercising rights over my property overnight on public property. So that invidious legislation that would abrogate my right over it, I'm sorry, that shows seditious conspiracy. It doesn't give them a time to, they do this all the time. They produce these little laws. Now, I wasn't trespassing. Now, it wasn't abandoned. And I didn't receive any charge. But there is a statute in the state of Virginia that pertains to the removal of unauthorized vehicles on business property. And it requires the business post signage at the entrances of all lots to prominently displayed, reflecting that owners who leave property behind on this property are at risk to being towed, with the name of the business, with the telephone number, and potentially the cost of the fines involved. They broke the state law when they towed me, engaging in that illegal act in a conspiracy to commit racketeering with my stolen property. Mark Estes, who is the service director for the Halifax County Service Authority, broke the law of criminal solicitation when he had somebody take my property from me, breaking another law of grand larceny, another law of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, and I wish it could have been theft of a firearm too. But he didn't take that. With that being said, he contracted Donald Ellington of Franklin's Garage, who, through my records and subpoenas, had no evidence to produce for his physical removal documenting pictures. So he just had a simple little write-up, you know. Now, he told me the first day on the phone that Mark Estes had called him up and requested a car be towed. And I said, what's the nature of your contract that I am now involved with under duress? And he said, well, if you come claim it, you pay me. If you don't claim it, Mark pays me. I said, okay. So that's a private contract out the ass, right? Over what should have been a public contract for towing. It being a registered government business, law enforcement would have had the discretion to remove my property if it was in accordance with law to pertain for the removal. Okay? Law enforcement. Now, because they were lied to by the defendants who claimed that it was private property, guess who didn't have a role in the removal? Law enforcement didn't. They were only called to identify the property and basically get the, you watching me do this? That's it. Yeah, we're watching you do it. All right, do it. They did it. Now, law enforcement should have carried out the removal, but it should not have been removed. It should have been tagged for removed. But it never would have got the opportunity had I received notice, had they have put a note on it. Now, they use a local ordinance in the town of South Boston to obstruct justice and free these criminals from their charges, convictions, and potential prosecutions. This ordinance is titled The Removal for Trespassing Vehicles. I'm going to say it again. The removal for trespassing vehicles. Now, we covered what trespassing is per state law. Now, the local ordinance says removal for trespassing vehicles and then has a definition. It goes into detail on the removal. At no point in time does anywhere in the subsection give any indication that somebody needs to be notified. But let's back up. The ordinance here locally is titled The Removal for Trespassing Vehicles. We need to know what kind of vehicles we are removing, and that's going to be a trespassing vehicle. Now, can we define the word trespass again? Drum roll, please. Brrr. It's after having been forbidden to do so. So, when you have previously been forbidden to do so, now we can carry out the removal of the trespassing vehicle. But if you don't notify them, notice is required in the title of the ordinance that has the word trespassing that's state defined. We have no special definition here in South Boston, Virginia for trespassing. God, those legislators, they would love to copy and paste and remove a few words, wouldn't they? After having been forbidden, we know how that copy and paste works. All right, I'm going to get back to it now that I've pretty much covered the legal grounds for me to be there. Now, I didn't provide you statutes with numbers, etc. You can look it up. I'm burned out, okay? Off the top of my head, there's so many numbers floating around.
You cannot leave any property belonging to somebody else's name.
Just informed by the state employee, county employee, that I can't leave my vehicle on someone else's property.
This is misprision of a felony, refusing to take a report.
I'm alleging that this officer is going to commit misprision of a felony based off of refusing to take a report. He has no notepad out. Even though his body camera's catching stuff, he's got no reason to pull it, but he will here in a minute.
In regards to the felony, and you are acting as an attorney practicing law unlicensed.
I'm telling him that he's acting as an attorney practicing law unlicensed by lying to me and telling me that no crime has been committed and that he's insinuating this is a civil matter. Now, it's not his job to tell me what a crime is or isn't, because I know I was an injured party. Somebody who did me wrong, took my property from me. That is a crime, because there was no sanction, no indictment from a grand jury to legally take my property from me. These gentlemen violated the state law in regards to providing notice required by law on behalf of businesses that will be engaged in towing. So they violated state law by not giving me notice there. And they cover up the crimes that had been committed by claiming that they carried it out lawfully per a local ordinance that dictates for the removal of trespassing vehicles. But they don't want to define what trespassing is and how it pertains to what kind of vehicles they want to remove. Not when it comes to making me a victim and proving that these people committed a crime. Now, the investigator is working for the Town of South Boston Police Department. The investigator's name is Collie. Now, Collie here previously had a run-in with me once when I had issues with the tax office in the Town of South Boston, where they were fudging a lot of numbers, and I was calling them on it. And they tried to trespass me there from the office in town when I was trying to settle a debt with the man. So he had previously had a run-in with me, and he refuses, because he does not want to interpret at this point in time, when I've reported crime to him, what the local ordinance pertains to and how it is used. He doesn't want to practice law, but he doesn't study law, and he is dumb as shit, because we all have pretty much summed up that trespassing requires notice. That's in Supreme Court rulings, okay? So he doesn't want to tell me that the statute or the local ordinance in the title requires notice. Now, the chief is a new chief, because the last one was Benner. I don't know who the new chief is, but the new chief is backing up Collie here and covering up a conspiracy to commit racketeering under color of law. And they're covering up violations of Rico statutes in the Town of South Boston. And it's just amazing how far these people are willing to go to just obstruct justice and deprive people of their life, their liberty, and their pursuit of happiness. So I'm going to get back to the video.
Now, which is also
He claimed to be a lawyer, and now he's accusing them of practicing law without a license.
Absolutely.
That's some top-shelf projection.
You are here to solely take a criminal report.
Okay, they are here to solely take a criminal report. They don't do it. They just listen to me talk, and they leave arresting me without a report number. Now, so far, I'm 4.5 minutes into the video. Schrodinger's cat, the recently deceased fucking fool, doesn't give any statutes, any notification whatsoever, doesn't relate anything to any law whatsoever. He's just blatantly trying to beat me down, talking crap with a silver tongue. Schrodinger's cat had an army of idiots that watched his videos, and as I go through my video where he's auditing me, there's no sustenance to none of the stuff he has to say. There's none. And it amazes me that he's got so many followers and views. 403,000 views on my video. Now ask yourselves, how much money do you think he's made talking shit, retaliating against me, a victim, and inspiring others to come and harass me? How much money do you think he's made off that? He's made money. He's made good money off of this. I know he has. And I hope it paid for a tie-dye burial stone, because screw that
In
idiot.
regards to that,
Nothing criminal has taken
hold on 1
place.
second, sir. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to educate you. Now, the Supreme Court had ruled that it is your sole duty to take a criminal report in regards. And if I am falsifying any information in regards to this report, you will be liable to arrest me.
That's right.
Now, with the state law,
I can get arrested for
federal
filing
law,
false reports.
Considering I'm going to educate you. Not at one point, at any point in time, was I made aware that I was trespassing. Therefore, it is a crime in regards to the removal of that vehicle from that property because nobody had made anybody aware that a crime's been committed. I'm going to elaborate for you in a clear instance. 1 second.
So they took my property from me and I didn't receive any charges. They claimed that it was illegally, whatever, abandoned, trespassing, idiot savant, who knows what they wanted to say. They lied through their teeth. No crime was committed and they are lawfully holding my property. I was on registered government business property, not notified of nothing, not bothering nobody. And I was with my property taken away and to be extorted for the return of it. And I didn't have any penalties regarding law. Now I can understand if I was parked on some private person's property, but there's laws that even protect us from that, which I've already covered. And even if it was a private person's property, they deprived me the right to notice to know that it was their property that I needed to be removing myself from, which is the right to notice. I mean, we don't have a amendment right to notice, but Jesus, you think we should be notified? Yes, the courts upheld that.
No, he's talking, you stop talking. That's how
I
that
really
works.
wanted to speak with the supervisor so I didn't get gangbanged by a bunch of people who didn't study law.
No.
Do you know the person that owns the property you're parked on?
It's not owned by a private individual. It's owned by a private corporation.
Did that corporation give you permission to park there?
I was wrong in the statement to the officer. When they asked me if a private person gave me permission, I said it's not owned by a private person, it's owned by a private corporation. I gave a false statement. I was under the impression because I investigated through their secretary and was told that it was a private business. Boy, did she lie to me to be able to give me that information to misinform these cops right here. Because I would have loved to have seen the tax ID card and the listing on the website showing it that it is a registered government business open to and funded by the public.
This property has been generally open and accessible to the public in the neighborhood for generations, as I can testify myself to that. There are no posting signs whatsoever that would deem any portion of that property not open and accessible to the general public.
Which is required by law.
Sir, this is misprision of a felony. If you're refusing to take a report, this is why I seriously wanted the supervisor to come down here and respect.
So it's more than it's more than misprision of a felony. I was trying to crunch so many things the night before. I must have used the word misprision of felony a few times, and it is. I'm gonna touch on this real quick, and I'm gonna make this a great audit of his failed audit. 1 second.
Deputy, down here and respect my constitutional rights. What is your name, sir? Deputy Weddle. Okay, and your name, sir?
Deputy Moore, 2 O's.
Deputy Moore.
Can you spell that for you?
No, sir. I can handle that from.
All right. So misprision of felony. Whomever. This is Title 18. Title 18, United States Code Section 4, I'm almost certain, whomever is cognizable of felony criminal information must make known to the proper authorities. These guys aren't proper. Deputy Moore, Deputy Weddle, Deputy Bush, Deputy Martin, Waddell, Moore, Bush, and Martin. 4 officers rolled up and I gave criminal information to them, asking them to secure a crime scene for me, reporting Rico violations. As we know from all the failed audits of my video, where these people get good money and good views to lie to people, none of them have informed you that it was a false arrest. It was a false arrest. When they show up, they're doing what they're doing now. They're about to arrest me. I'm going to go into detail about that in a second.
With that being said, violations of U.S. Code and of the Constitution are as follows. Violation of the KKK Act, which is the Three Quarters Act, the Rico Act, the Homestead Act, 18 U.S. 241 and 242, and an attempt to extort me for money when I have no contract with them. No contract, no notice, no contract. Therefore, that is a violation of 1961.
We didn't call the FBI. We were supposed to, okay?
I did.
Now, Deputy Moore wants to inform me that I need to call the FBI, and they don't enforce federal code. But we know how things roll downhill, that the states get their model of law from somewhere. So yes, they pretty much copy and paste from federal code into state statutes. Now, we know how the calls to the FBI worked out, because I recorded those and put those up on here for y'all to listen to. And we know that there is a conspiracy to defraud the public, where the FBI puts operators on the phone that are not employed by the actual FBI, who want all of your criminal information, who won't connect you to a badged law enforcement with the authority or jurisdiction to investigate or provide you a report number, or their information to identify them at a later date to hold them accountable for obstruction of justice. So, he informs me to call the FBI. I tell him, you know what? You got a job to do.
And they refused, claiming it was civil. However, that is another instance where they are,
practicing law
of a
unlicensed.
felony and practicing law without a license. They cannot tell me it's civil when I'm filing a criminal report with all the information in regards to such. A violation of Title 42, 1986, and also the 8th Amendment. The grounds that I have for this criminal matter are as follows.
It's not a criminal matter.
You are not to decide that, sir. You are not the judge. You are here to take a criminal report, nothing more. No notice was provided to vacate. That was my sole home and sole dwelling and primary residence that was stolen.
Okay, look, this is not a criminal
along with
complaint.
attempted extortion.
Look, listen, don't talk over me again. This isn't a criminal act, so you can vacate the property, okay?
Occupy and possess and defend my sole dwelling
Who does on that?
immediately.
Okay, I'm not going to talk.
Yeah, do that.
With that being said, I would request your supervisor down here immediately. Please call your supervisor down here immediately.
He asked you a question.
I asked you to call your supervisor.
That's not one coming.
It is your job.
I
to
keep
respect
requesting
my right
supervisors, but I know from my history of contacting these people, they're protecting the higher ups.
Violating my rights, sir.
I don't know how these cops are keeping their composure with this mental midget talking down to them.
He's calling me a mental
He did
midget
a couple
now.
of Google searches, and now he thinks he's Alan Dershowitz.
So Schrodinger's cat here calls me a mental midget. Just more verbal abuse from an idiot who has no understanding of law or even able to articulate through my case.
Where the bridge is, right next to me. Of course, what consider they are a criminal accessory, and the evidence of the crime is here, the crime scene is here. It needs to be handled accordingly. Well, I have to teach you guys, because you guys,
You don't have to teach me
I do.
anything.
You guys do not study law.
He said, you ain't gonna teach me nothing. Well, I remember at the pump one night when I was working security, I approached Officer Martin, who said, you ain't gonna teach me nothing. Well, officer, I informed you that evening that I had filed a lawsuit and proved pretty much to everybody within the courts that these people committed a crime against my property. With that being said, I think I proved that they had no legal right to take it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have proved through hiring a second attorney who had to cough it up out of thin air. Well, we know how that works.
And it's the equivalent to a kitchen hiring a head chef who's never peeled an orange or held a knife or entered a kitchen in their whole life. Got nothing to do with a kitchen. It absolutely does.
No, sir.
I gave you a reference in regards to how the similarity is there. Now you go ahead, sir. What do you have to say?
The town of South Boston is the people that were responsible for towing your vehicle.
No, they were not, sir. If they were, it would be a...
So, Deputy Martin, who says I'm not going to teach him anything, tells me that the town of South Boston was responsible for the towing of my vehicle.
Report number as far as the incident report, call log report, and they would have paperwork in regards to such. If Officer Perkins conspired to withhold evidence while that RV was removed by a private party, he is also involved and will be named as a criminal accessory.
But what I'm saying is, South Boston Police Department towed your vehicle.
Now, we have one officer talking right now that had heard now that I have been alleged to have been threatening and harassing employees here. And they said, well, if so, we're going to take them to jail. So now these officers are engaging in a conspiracy to deprive me of my rights right now in violation of Title 18 United States Code Sections 241. And just wait till they arrest me. That's a violation of 242.
It left the jurisdiction. Yes, it does. And I'm going to teach you about this, sir. I'm not? Okay, are you too old to learn new tricks?
Look, what we're trying to...
I still am requesting a supervisor.
And one's not coming.
You're going to tell me I'm refused the right for a supervisor to come and take a formal report seriously?
He doesn't have the right to speak to a supervisor, but he's going to have the right to remain silent here in just a minute.
Yes, because it's not a formal report. This is not serious. It's not a criminal act.
It's not a formal report, not a criminal act.
No, sir, it is not.
You studied law yourself, correct?
So,
Did you take
he
the
said
bar,
this
sir?
is not a formal report. Right now, you are hearing evidence in the video of Deputy Waddell, I believe, telling me that he is not taking a formal report and he is abandoning his oath to office in efforts to retaliate against me, the victim of crime, who's requesting he perform his administrative duties in accordance with law.
Did you take the bar?
No.
Did you take the bar? I didn't have to take the bar.
We didn't either.
Yeah, and that's a shame because you enforce law that you know nothing about. Equivalent to hiring a head chef who's never been in the kitchen in his life. We need criminal justice reform because you guys violate rights all the time, misprison felonies. This is a conspiracy to deprive me of my rights. Because you don't know the law, ignorance is no excuse for not knowing the law.
That's true.
You all being sheriffs, you are solely bound to make sure other officials are held to constitutional jurisdiction and law. What is your name? Why don't you ask Franklin?
What did he say?
He said, put me in cuffs.
2725, you say...
I love it.
Arrest the subject.
Yes, sir, and I'm not in agreement with your report.
Put your hands behind your back.
Why am I being arrested?
You may not on the arrest right now, okay?
What? I'm sorry. Why are you detaining me?
We'll get to that in a second.
Why are you detaining me, sir?
We'll get to that in just a second. You're under arrest.
Why am I being arrested? I'm not impersonating.
Go ahead and let go of your phone. You can't have...
Right now, I'm getting arrested for a violation of 18.2-174 Virginia statute, impersonation / assuming duties of law enforcement. Now, one must assume that if you have a protected right to conduct a citizen's arrest, that you must investigate, report on, and arrest an individual for felony within view. Now, because the state of Virginia's legislators left open the statute to exclude citizens or to not cover citizens' arrest, it openly promotes the retaliation of law enforcement to arrest individuals who are exercising a protected right to perform a citizen's arrest for felony within view. So, in the video, let's recap. It's been 50 minutes. I've been talking a lot, trying to educate the masses on how Schrodinger is just a retard and you shouldn't have given him a view to begin with. We are now 12 minutes into his video on me, where he claims I'm a sovereign citizen and I'm just a complete retard, right? That's all. That's all he's got. That's all he's got. You guys listen to him if you listen to him, and I'm sorry you wasted your time. I'm sitting here having trash talked about me by a retard on YouTube. That's all. He's dead? Good. Okay. Who cares? So, in light of him being dead, we're going to take a moment to hear a word from not our sponsor, Game Blue Minis, Garcia Vega. Wonderful cigarillos in a Palma flavor. Light on the lungs, easy on the taste, great on the flavor. Garcia Vega Game Minis, blue cigarillos. Let's have one.
I'm not impersonating a law enforcement officer. You served that man a paper down there that you wrote and told him he was under arrest. That's impersonating a police officer.
I did not tell him he was under arrest. I said stay right there. He was going to be placed under arrest.
Now, he put words in my mouth, and I've been criticized for this on YouTube. He said, you told him he was under arrest. I said, I did not tell him he was under arrest. I said, stay right there. You're going to be under arrest, which is true. Stay right there. You're under arrest. Hold on, back up. When I walk, no. I did tell him, stay right there. You're under arrest. Not just you're under arrest. I said stay right there. Now, big deal. I told him to stay right there. Guess who fled the scene after I performed a citizen's arrest and left? None of his employees that were alleged that were threatened or harassed. No. The actual owner-operator fled the fucking scene from the citizen's arrest.
You can't do that.
No, I did not tell him I was placing him under arrest. I did not impersonate an officer. I did not offer any information. Sir, is that dog right here is witness intimidation?
Is that your dog?
And this is suppressing my rights. Yes, sir, that is my dog.
All right, now let's slow down. No formal report is being taken by officers Moore, Waddell, Martin, or the other idiot. No formal reports being taken. Now, if I have the right to perform that citizen's arrest, like I just told you guys I did, like I proved to the prosecutor I did against my defense attorney's wishes, Elizabeth Trent undermined my right to control my criminal defense in my case. She is a public pretender. She works out of Lunenburg County, Halifax County. Rumor has it she's also moving her practice to Charlottesville. So watch out for this criminal, Charlottesville. Now, she undermined my right to control my defense, attritioning my case through barratry, drawing up a psych evaluation, which I gave her no intent that there would be a malady plea, no evidence of anything, issue psychological, but she did speak with the criminals and found that they had every legal right to take it. Well, if that's the case, why did the defense hire two attorneys and they just cough it up out of the air like, oops. Wow, man. So anyway, Elizabeth Trent did a number on me, and she referred to the prosecutor in regards to my situation with the barratry she was stirring up as fun mental health stuff. This is serious because she didn't do her job. She explicitly told me, Elizabeth Trent, a Virginia public defender, who'd never acted with zeal, who never wanted me to have control of my own case, she expressly told me that I am not to speak with the prosecutor, okay? She did not want me taking exculpatory evidence that showed I had the right to do something to the prosecutor. Why would she want me to withhold evidence? Maybe because she told me she had the intent of only working on half of the statute at face value, which leaves open the whole assuming duties impersonation part. Like, I have the right to control my defense. I know how these criminals operate. She's not working for me. I proved that. I turned her into a zombie, proved there was a conflict of interest. Couldn't get her removed yet, but had the case thrown against me because the prosecutor I put on notice for unwittingly participating in a scheme to retaliate against a victim, witness, and informant of crime as an accessory after the fact to a criminal scheme of racketeering. I had to put her on notice and tell her I had the right to do something. Good cause shown case was dismissed. I had Elizabeth Trent furnish me all the documents, and she was trying to tell Megan Clark, the prosecutor, that she was screening her from a whole lot more, trying to prevent Megan from being in communications with me. She didn't want me to speak with the prosecutor. Most would advise you not to. She advised me not to, but she is a stupid person who is certified as a bar member who's committed a series of crimes against me through barratry and attritioning my case, misprision of felony. She is cognizable of the whole criminal episode against me. And I've been educating you guys on how these public defenders, these defense attorneys, when you're innocent, they turn themselves into accessories after the fact by refusing to report on the crime that's been committed against us. So, here we go. I'm getting arrested. Once again, our word from our non-sponsor, Game Mini Blue
He should
Palma
look on the bright
Cigarillos.
side. At least now he's going to have somewhere to sleep tonight.
So, here we are. Schrodinger's happy that I'm getting arrested for exercising a protected right where officers have been committing felonies against me, as you see here. Violations of 1503, obstruction of justice, violations of 241, conspiracy. These officers engaged together. Now, right now in the video, he's talking about the piece of paper I just gave him. Listen very carefully. Listen.
So what did he do on that? He gave this piece of paper right here. I told him he was under arrest. Sounds like a plan. So that's what I was trying to figure out. Frank see what exactly he was doing. If he under lights, I was charged for trespassing. He told us he wanted to leave.
Now they're conspiring to also charge me with trespassing. Even though I removed myself from the property when I gave the towing operator a notice to retract from his crimes when he told me I was trespassing, I moved to the adjacent lot, which I felt wasn't believed to be owned by him. Nobody told me to remove myself from that adjacent lot, but here we are. Officers Moore and Waddell engaging into a conspiracy to commit more racketeering by frivolously charging me with trespassing on another man's property.
Hunter got paperwork. He signed off like a handwritten warrant that he was the deputy sheriff.
We got Officer Moore telling Deputy Bush that I hand signed off on a warrant claiming to be a deputy sheriff. That's some serious shit. I got a cop on camera lying to another cop, leading him to believe that I claimed to be an officer and I was serving warrants. I wish I could make this shit up. So, that's giving false statements to an officer right there. I don't care who you are. That's a crime. So far in the video, I've articulated that deprivations of rights occurred under 242 with the theft of my property, but more so in the arrest video when I get arrested. Now, under 241, proving a conspiracy, we show that 4 deputies of Halifax County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Moore, Deputy Bush, Deputy Waddell, and Deputy Martin, all conspired together to convince each other and lie to each other through false statements with being solicited with false reports, well, I proved that right there. Now, when he said there's no report, no formal report, no report number. Hello, 1503, obstruction of justice. Hello, misprision of felony. Title 18, United States Code Section 4. These officers, whomever they are, whomever Title 18, United States Code 4 Section 4 requires, that is cognizable of crime to report on crime. These officers within this agency have committed crimes against me, felony crimes. And I'm articulating this in the video so people can learn. And you cross-reference the federal codes, and you just read the definitions, and then you look at the evidence, and you're like, well, damn. Now show me the get-out-of-jail cop-free card. There isn't one. There is no get-out-of-jail cop-free card. There is 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Yes, oh my. He's impersonating law enforcement officers.
So what do you do about it?
They gave Donnie's piece of paper and said that he committed a criminal act and he was under arrest. I was like, he told you were under arrest. He said, yeah. The camera's still on. He said, yes. I said,
Now, he's giving statements to the other officer, letting him know while he's telling him what's going on that the camera's still hot.
so, we're done. Your camera still on?
Yes.
So you keep it on way to the jail? See right in your car?
He's already in my car.
Just keep it on.
Why can't they keep the cameras on all the time? Can't record all the crimes they commit all the
You
time.
ask me a question?
Just sometimes.
They can talk all they want to.
Yeah. Oh, sounds good to me.
I'll cut mine back on.
I hope our sheriff's deputy, lawyer, attorney general friend enjoys his stay at the Steel Bar Bed Breakfast.
I didn't
If
spend
you
a
like
night in
this
jail
video,
over
and
that.
you want to see more
But I
stuff
was
in the
falsely
future,
imprisoned
please
behind a
like
few
and
different
subscribe.
locked doors. Now, Schrodinger's cat, thanks you. Who is this retard that is gaining money as a dead man right now, thank God, off of my content, off of my case, while I'm still a victim, unrelieved of current criminal acts? I have an officer on the run right now for harassment. I got an individual, a private citizen in Halifax County, whose name is Jonah Powell, recorded giving me statements through a telecommunications platform that he is working in conjunction with law enforcement to do these retaliatory acts. I wonder who he's working with. Maybe people should ask him. I'm going to be updating some criminal information and attempting to go about the proper way, more so, to finessing the situation to get it more logged on paper. The more logged the case is becoming, the more reporting I've done. I want you guys to know that everybody who comes in contact with me that is an officer who I've reported this information to, they are stuck to it. They know crimes occurring, and they are willfully blind, and I'm showing a criminal state of mind. With that being said, at no point in time can these idiot jackleg badge holders perform the act of just not recording and reporting on crime, but they can. They use their discretion, and that's where the blue code of silence, the blue wall of silence, the blue line of silence comes into play. So, the whole time, not one statute was mentioned by a Mr. Schrodinger's fraud. Not one statute. Not one ordinance was referred to. As an auditor, and having an auditor audit me, an auditor, where I conducted a failed audit in my citizen's arrest, I gotta say, but even though I'm a victim of more crime recorded, I give myself as an auditor for that citizen's arrest video that has received failed audits, I give it a C+, okay? Because I wasn't wrong, I held my cool, I was reporting on crime while further being more victimized. But that's a C+ strong based on the lack of knowledge. Everything else, how I conducted myself and just held my cool against these guys as they violated more rights and liberties of mine and acted in retaliation in concert via another criminal solicitation from one of the original criminals. It blows my mind. Like, why can't I get relief from this? Why can't people like me get relief? And I'll tell you, it's because of the blue wall of silence. It's because of their code of silence. These people, the moment they get criminal information, they're going to tell their boss. Their boss is going to tell them, shut up. I had a trooper tell me that. Basically, shut up. In other words, they disappear, be relocated. If they persist, yeah, they're going to get Clinton, man. I don't care. I am working to expose these people because you can't do this to people. You can't take somebody's property, claim that they committed illegal acts, not charge them with anything, and then let them file a lawsuit against you only to hire 2 defense attorneys and then cough it up after 516 days fast. No rhyme or reason at that point. You won't even tell me why you want to return it while I still got a pending lawsuit against you. No. So, in regards to his audit of my video and his commentary, he gets, I mean, is there, I mean, what's worse than like an F minus? I don't even know. Like, I scored good in school. But what, like, he's a failure. Schrodinger's cat is a failure. An absolute failure. Dude sucks at life. Now, I'm not doing this because I want the likes. I don't do it for the recognition. I do it because you need to know what's going on. I do it because you need to know how you can try to protect yourself. I do it because your loved ones, your family, somebody is going to be affected at some point in life with similarities that I have recorded in my life with these instances. Somebody's going to be affected in your life similarly, and you might be able to show them this. Lincoln Square Leonidas, he crushes it with the paperwork. He does an impeccable audit, and I don't even think he knows he's an auditor. But he is. I'm giving a shout out to that dude. That's who you should be watching. He's got I'll give that guy an A minus overall on all of his content. Lincoln Square Leonidas, I would give an A minus. Presentation, just an A minus. Where he could do better at, from my experience, would be to log formal report. Get a formal report number, so that is record. Don't let them obstruct. Don't let them tell you, okay, we'll get back to you. That is not a report. That's not how that works. I have given you more information in one video than Schrodinger's cat, I think, could give you in any of his combined. I have provided material to enlighten and educate where I have not received anything constructive from his audit of my video, his failed audit of my video. All he did was bash me, called me names, and label me a member of a terrorist organization. So he's only promoted further retaliation against me, the victim of crime, during a criminal episode, which makes him an accessory. Now, I'm no lawyer, but I do practice law for myself. Don't know what that makes me if it's not a lawyer. I mean, in today's society where law is weaponized against us, if you do not brush up on law, you will be eaten alive. Even if you are a complete victim, you are about to get chewed up and spit out, and you got no idea what you can expect. You need to look up how to recuse judges. You need to start to study and determine what kinds of conflicts of interest you may have. What kinds of conflicts of interest others may have with you, if any, with the courts, with your whole cases. there is war being waged against our class of citizenry. We're going through a mass program globally where students are sent to school, given a basic education. Law is used against us from the very moment we are born until we turn 18. Is it that are we truly really responsible for ourselves? And at that point, we are expected to know law, because ignorance of the law, not knowing, is no excuse. So when we go through a curriculum in elementary school, we're not taught really the things that we need to know. Law is one of the things that is used corruptly, profoundly, and widely abused. And people don't check the system enough. And here we are today being extorted by brand new laws at every turn. I have argued in my community, and I will tell these people, just like I'll tell you in your own, you can probably do the research. Your local legislation would abrogate your right, and you can uncover a seditious conspiracy yourself. Here's how you do it. Find out if your town or county issues permits for gathering in public, and find out how much they want to cost you and how many people are allowed to attend. Now, if you know that you have the First Amendment right to gather peacefully in public spaces, now, you can't restrict that. You can't govern that. That is a right. So the moment where the local level, those legislators who engaged in a seditious conspiracy have committed treason and put that into the books, you have evidence of racketeering now under color of law. So the moment a cop tries to walk up to you and your group of people and try to say, hey, you got a permit to be here, and be that Nazi Germany dude I refer to in some of my comments, you are gathering now potentially evidence. You can put him on notice for deprivations of rights, racketeering under color of law. The more federal code you have, state code you have, your knowledge to spit these statutes out, you put his ass on notice. All right? He charges you, opens the door to the courthouse now on a malicious prosecution. Welcome to my world. You put the prosecutor on notice that they are unwittingly participating in a scheme to retaliate against a victim of crime and a scheme to commit racketeering under color of law. It's getting easier for me to say because, wow, once you start studying this stuff, man, and start identifying it like a true prosecutor, it just gets easier and easier. Like, I'm really trying here. You put these people on notice, and they suck you in the system, that officer that wrote you the ticket after you told him so, well, you have grounds to sue him, grounds to impeach him from office, because he abandoned his oath to office. He swore an oath. But what good is the Constitution if we're not going to acknowledge you got a First Amendment right to gather? So you can be your own auditor if you want. The most important thing is you just know what you're doing, know what you're being involved with. The more they want to suck me into the system, the more I realize that I need to study exactly how the system's operating, why they want to suck me into the system, and why are they trying so hard to cover up their own crimes that they are committing within the system that the system should be trying them for. Not me. I haven't committed those crimes and any crimes, and it's certain it's a crime because I'm a victim. I didn't want to be a victim, but I put myself out there. Most people have normal lives where they do their 9 to 5, they got their home life, they got their routine. I love to travel. I love to be on the road. And through my travels, I certainly realize that law enforcement wants to know who I am as I'm passing through, because there's always just some ordinance to shake down a poor bum, a poor guy living out of a backpack. But the definition of a hobo, though, helping other brothers out. I'll do anything I can for anybody that needs a hand on the road if I'm able to give it to them. And, one of the most profound times I ever had trying to steer clear of a charge was when I taught a cop the law. And yes, I am, idiot. Tune in. I just roasted your buddies in some of the videos that I've done recently. Anyway, I'm already getting troll comments coming in. and that's all right. So the video of Schrodinger's cat, you can't call it an audit. You can just call it lame content for the weak-minded. You know, if you come across content that seems interesting like that, try to find the original content. See what you're getting involved with. Let's see. Yeah. Figure out what you're getting involved with. Audit the Audit did my video. They failed. But in comparison to your Schrodinger idiot here, he got like an A++ compared to... Dude, this guy's got no brain. Schrodinger had no brain, guys. Sorry. I hate to break it to you. Schrodinger had no brain. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that because that's the best way to leave it. That guy's got no more brains. Y'all have a wonderful day. Take care.